In the past 20 years, technology has grown to rapid exponential rates as it improved in quality, convenience, and practicality as well as providing crazy state-of-the-art features people from the 50s couldn't even guess. Like imagine them hearing about a handheld computer called a smartphone with a screen that you can touch and interact with your fingers and do almost just as much as a computer. Better yet, even talk to people from thousands if not hundreds of thousands of miles away and see them with just a click of a button. Sometimes I wish that shit wasn't invented, but or even people in the 70s hearing about gaming consoles that can display photorealistic simulated games that you can not only play yourself and experience a virtual world alone, you can also play with friends that are far away from you and also talk to them real time, just like phone calls, while doing so. Versus playing a shitty ass pixelated video game from a giant wooden block with someone next to you playing with you. But you know what has also grown with technology like phones and gaming consoles? The internet. And over these past 20 years, it's been a long war between smartphones and gaming consoles, as everyone from my generation knows, obviously. But recently, the war has just ended around COVID, and I wanted to shed light and reminisce on the great holy war of technology, meaning iPhone versus Android, as well as GayStation versus Sexbox. Let's begin. So in 2007, right, the first iPhone was created. This shit was revolutionary as it provided a heads-up touchscreen display, and it could not only play music, it could also call people, but it could also play newer games too, use social media, the internet, and also FaceTime people. Basically the first portable computer the size of your hand. No more using a tiny-ass keyboard with keys the size of Jinxie's penis. Bizarre. And a year after, the first Android was made trying to compete with Apple, the HTC, which still had a damn keyboard, but some people may have liked the keyboard still. From there on out, years after years, each have just been improving their technology, with Apple inventing one new phone with new features and Android doing the same. Both just going back and forth, and with these battles became the holy war with the consumers, the iPhone versus Android demographic, with iPhone being the sole oppressor in the war. I remember middle school or high school being the absolute worst when I had an Android before I switched to iPhone.
You have an Android? No, it's not. What was that sound? You're Android. Are you serious? You broke bitch. Just hold on a second.
Back in school, if you roam the halls and people you know with iPhones had word that you had a droid, you will literally get cindered to an absolute crisp. Beyond bullying. You could just be financially unprivileged and have no choice, but it didn't matter to the richer kids. Or if you at least try to defend Android out of cope, probably, you still wouldn't win because of the majority and the number of iPhone users. You would literally have to hide your phone and lie to people saying you didn't have one yet and promise you'll get an iPhone. It was pure humiliation ritual. I remember I used to have my arts and crafts skills to turn an Android into an iPhone. It was so bad. I tried faking it until I made it, which barely worked, until I finally made it and got my first iPhone, which was an iPhone 7 in my 8th grade year, and I went up from there. Literally spoiled ass rich kids in the 6th grade, I remember, had a literal iPhone X, which was the newest thing in 2017. All the Hollywood girls of course got spoiled with new iPhone XRs and shit. The only arguable thing with Androids at the time was that you had more customizability and could do more jailbroken and illegal shit on an Android versus an iPhone, since it was so fixed and limited. Granted, there were ways you can download music and movies on an iPhone, but not as easy as an Android. But of course, over the years it didn't matter. Fast forward to now, Androids obviously had gotten better, but today's generation, Apple mainly dominates the mobile scene, with Androids mainly being used for corporate affiliated people and tasks. The only Androids I see now are literally work phones used by the company. This smartphone war was hectic and mostly one-sided dominating, but one war I can say went on for longer, going back and forth, was the great and infamous console wars. Mostly PlayStation and Xbox, since PC and Nintendo had their own thing and still do have their own thing. The PlayStation versus Xbox console wars lasted just about as long as iPhone and Android. I've always grew up PlayStation, so all I ever knew was PlayStation. I've tried hella Xboxes when family had them, like the original, the 360, and the One, so my opinions can be listened to, I think. No. The first PlayStation came out in 1994, while the first Xbox came out in 2001. The first PlayStation had exclusives like Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider, which old heads in today's era loved dearly. Fast forward to the next generation after that, which was the PlayStation 2, which came out in 2000, and actually came before the first Xbox, 2 consoles before actually. The PlayStation 2 had hella gems on it, just as much as the first Xbox did, with PlayStation still having more sales because it was more well known. Now on to the PlayStation 3 from 2006 and the 360 from 2007. This was the golden age of consoles, as exclusive got better, such as Halo, Gears of War, Forza, and for PlayStation, The Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, and so on. Surprisingly, the sales were actually almost the same, but PlayStation statistically still outsold a smidge more than Xbox, but that doesn't mean everything, as more people may have just known PlayStation more since it's older, but could have enjoyed it just as much as Xbox. On to the next generation. PlayStation 4 from 2013 and the Xbox One as well. This was peak gaming for my generation as exclusives got better and remastered with better graphics, and online gaming got better in general. PlayStation had been dominating in sales, but from this point on, there was no chance of Xbox coming back, to be honest. With the PlayStation in the 100 millions and Xbox not even breaching 60 to 7 million sales. For Xbox, this was the last age of exclusives in gaming before it all went downhill generations after. This was the last age of Xbox exclusives until creativity and numbers dropped. This generation of consoles also sucked because unlike older gens, you had to and still have to pay for online, which is ass. But fast forward to today's generation of consoles with the PlayStation 5 coming out in 2020 as well as the Xbox Series X. Consoles recently have been coming out at the same time to avoid monopolies, but in terms of sales, it honestly wasn't even fair as it was no debate. PlayStation had been winning over the years just like Apple was to Android, but ever since Sony released the PS5, it was basically putting the nail in the coffin. Sony basically killed Microsoft, spat on its dead body, did a Fortnite emote, and cremated the body, setting it on fire. Upon release back in COVID, trying to get a PS5 was like trying to get the One Piece, I swear to God. You had to either A, be up all night staring at your monitor, not blinking whatsoever to see the add to cart button light up for the PS5, B, camp outside the nearest Walmart, Target, Best Buy, or GameStop to buy it physically and risk getting robbed, or C, buy it from a greedy ass reseller for double the fucking price to get it and hope you didn't get scammed. Honestly, I think we should all purge on resellers and exclude them from society. I have a deep, heavy grudge for resellers. I hate people like them in this economy. But yeah, versus Xbox Series X's where you can literally go to the store at the time and buy one because sadly they were so irrelevant compared to PS5, but for good reason. Literally, there were no changes made to Xbox besides a new UI and sure, slightly better graphics, but no exclusives, which was the selling point for Xbox and kept it in competition. PlayStation not only had new features as load time, graphics, and UI, they had way more newly developed exclusives like Spider-Man, The Last of Us 2, God of War, all continued and remade with the graphics. And Xbox didn't do jack shit. And they literally could have done the same thing but didn't, thus leading to more people just giving in and getting a PlayStation to join with their friends. Xbox's Forza eventually came to PlayStation a year ago, while Xbox still doesn't have PlayStation Spider-Man. At least I don't think, I'm not sure, let me know in the comments. But now Xbox is deep in the gutter, while PlayStation rules still. Now granted, when people say over the years which generation was better, Xbox or PlayStation, it depends on what category. In the literal statistics sense in terms of sales, or just which community was bigger and had more fun with consoles. Because as a PlayStation player, I can say the 360 was in a community sense a better console than the PlayStation 3 and 2, and that the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One were equally as good, as the peak games at the time were cross-platform, so it didn't matter. But yeah, that was the end of the technology wars that lasted 26 years. In a non-degenerate sense, technology is technology, man. It don't matter what the fuck you got, as long as it gets the job done and does what it's supposed to do. No one should define who you are as a person because of a damn block of metal with a motherboard inside. Also, I thank everyone for helping me reach 1K finally on YouTube. It means hella to me as I've been doing this shit for a long time, and this is only the start to what's about to come. I think at the time of recording this, we're at like 1300 now, but I promise to try to make more longer videos and uploads, but it may take longer because a lot of editing goes into these videos, as you may know, and I also have a full-time job, so I'll keep y'all straight. But until then, let's keep going. Peace.
I done fucked up my whole life, gotta take pills to eat. I done fucked up my whole life, gotta take drugs to sleep. And I fucked up until I hate me. You was my motherfucking therapy, why the fuck you left me on the time and just left me there? Yeah, I'm fucking so much.